Yo, and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji, with me is Kendall. How you doing, boy?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. How are you?
It's feeling like deja vu, man.
Mic check 1, 2. Take two.
Yeah, this is like the second time we're chatting Newcastle. We had some tech issues, but you know, it's sorted, so no need to stress too much. So before we get started, I don't want to ruin the surprise, so I'm gonna let Kendall do his thing. Fan introduction. Tell us who you are, your Twitter handle, the club that you're representing today, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Kendall. I live in the States in North Carolina. Twitter handle is Realcoholics. Club allegiance is the mighty Newcastle. Where I work for a roofing company, and then coach a little bit on the side and play a little bit on the side. So.
All right, so listeners, welcome back to another Inside Trax fan series episode. Basically, what we've been doing is interviewing one of the 20 clubs in the Premier League. So basically, fans that support these clubs, and they also play the Fan Trax game. So general template for this is we have 3 sections. We have a bit of a discussion. We talk about impact of new manager / ownership, previous season performance versus new season's expectations, old system versus new system. So basically looking at new transfers, expected formation and starting 11, impact of AFCON / Asian Cup, and obviously we're going to talk Fan Trax. We're going to get Kendall's first pick, next 3 picks, and at least one hidden gem from Newcastle. Then we'll round things off by picking his brain as an experienced Fan Trax manager in our community. We're going to look at whether he does draft pick trading, how he spends his fab, and just, you know, advice and lessons learned over the past few seasons. All right, let's get started. Before we do, Kendall, I'm going to do this like I did last time, you know?
I forgot about the best part of this whole thing, man. Yes. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Newcastle in the Champions League, bro. Congratulations. Honestly, you guys fucking smashed it last season. I mean, to do a quick recap for the fans, before I let you do your spiel about manager and ownership. Yeah, I mean, top 4, right? I think you tied on goals against, like lowest goals against in the league with Manchester City. Same manager, same ownership. So I'm not sure, like, is there anything else that maybe the average football fan isn't aware of?
I think just front office stuff. A bunch of moves. Dan Eales came in as CEO, which is a pretty big one. Came from Atlanta United, but I think one of the big things with him, especially, was fan engagement and how he with the fans down in Atlanta of the MLS. And even when we came across to the States this year and played in Atlanta, the stadium is pretty incredible. It holds like 70,000 plus, and they heard a bunch about it. But Keith Downey specifically he started doing a little YouTube podcast vlog of it, and he was like, "Holy shit! Like, can't believe this place." And where I was kind of going with this was, Eagles got this place on, so it gets 50, 60, sometimes 70 plus. So I'm hoping that stuff like that will start to continue or start to happen at Newcastle. And I think they're even building like a little fan zone outside of the stadium now. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest ones. But other than that, not really much. A few little pieces here and there, backroom staff and whatnot. But I think that's the biggest one.
Can we expect more Jason Tyndall attention next season?
I don't know. They just came out with the Jason Tyndall rule. So I think I'm watching the Community Shield game right now. I think Arteta already got in trouble for running outside of his little box. So I think they're trying to keep Tyndall on the sidelines, man, in the seat.
Yeah, it's so funny how much this guy just pops up out of nowhere. But I mean, anyhow, talks about it. I think they're cool. It's their relationship, right? And whatever, it brought them success. It'd be interesting if it does affect results, but I don't think so. I think that's maybe overthinking it a slight bit.
hmm I think the only other thing, now that I think of it, is they did a Amazon Prime little documentary that should be coming out, I think, on the 11th or the 14th, something like that. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can check that out.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely do that. So in terms of like doing a recap, what I when I listened to last season's Inside Trax episode, you told me you stopped watching games because it is hard to be a Newcastle fan. You were always expecting a loss. That was me last season. I mean, I'm a Chelsea fan and I was fucking miserable all the time. But you did have an expectation coming into the season where you expected top four and a cup run, and you got exactly what you wished for.
Yeah, I should have placed money on all that. I should have placed a lot of money on.
You gotta give me some lottery numbers, bro. Like
we would have been doing this in person.
Yeah,
On like a yacht or something, man. No, I'm honestly shocked from that whole scenario. Did not really expect top four. It was more based on the previous from January to the end of the season, where I think we were like second in the league, if you just snip out that timetable. But cup run, we just got lucky. I think that's part of the cup runs in general. Is just getting lucky and getting your draw and getting home games versus away games. I mean, the team we lost to, I'm not even going to mention their name, but I think they had 7 straight cup home games in that competition. So just to give you an idea of how lucky you can.
yeah. I mean, St. James's Park is a fortress, right? What
Yes.
an atmosphere, man. Honestly. In terms of maybe new season's expectations, both league finish, and I know this is like purely EPL pod stuff, but what's your expectations in Champions League as well?
Champions League, it's funny, I just did like a little Champions League draw, and if we get the group that I just picked, which was PSG, Real Madrid, Dinamo Zagreb, and then us, I would not get out of that group. I don't think.
Come on.
But no, I think that depending on who we get in the group, we can get out. If not, at least finish third and get into the Europa, and then make a run in the Europa. From the EPL perspective, top 6, I don't think is unquestionable. Especially with some of our signings that we've had this year. So I'll say that's my prediction. Get out of the group in Champions League. If not, finish third, go on a run, maybe semifinals for Europa, and 6th in the league.
But do you think it's too much to ask for a trophy next season?
Domestically, I think it's possible. Which one? I don't know. Maybe another Carabao Cup or EFL. I don't know. FA Cup type. Nah,
Yeah, I guess you need luck of
possible.
the draw sort of situation for those, right?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's getting those home matches, especially versus the lower division team. I think we got knocked out by Sheffield at Sheffield in one of these competitions last year, and it's just going to their stadiums on Tuesdays, Wednesday nights is just tough. So
Yeah, true. All right, let's touch on some transfers. Let's look as far back as the previous summer window. And we'll talk about some assets that are Fantrax relevant in the sense. Nick Pope.
hashtag.
I mean, good transfer from Burnley. Yeah,
Nick
really
Pope.
nice guy.
Hashtag Nick Pope. Hell yeah.
Are you happy with his performance? I mean, he had one or two mad moments, like what was it, getting sent off in the semi-final of the cup?
Semifinals. Right? That killed us. I don't think that it would have made a huge difference in the final. But yeah, that was a silly moment. It wasn't necessary. For Fantrax purposes, I think he finished fourth overall as a goalie in the goalie category, so pretty
Okay.
good. But the difference between second and sixth is pretty minuscule.
Yeah.
So, but definitely an asset to have. He's going to play every single game for the most part, unless injuries. But
Which round do you typically go for goalkeepers?
uh, really somewhere in between, 14, 15, 16. Just kind of depends on how the rest of my draft is played out. I usually don't go early, unless I really want a goalie or something. But somewhere the later rounds, usually. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's just where the value really is.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, and it's also like, why waste an earlier pick when you can get good outfielders, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Matty Target, coming in from Aston Villa. Yeah, I think he ate too much Nutella at Aston Villa and he like got discarded from there or something. Because like I remember like Ismail Assar like absolutely roasted this guy, man. And he just basically got dropped off.
No.
But I don't know, like what do you think his role at Newcastle will be if he's still there?
I think rotational player. I think Dan Burn is still taking that spot. Talking about like another signing that I think we'll get to a little bit later, but the left or right back from Southampton, we just signed. Um, could he be playing a little bit for Trippier? He could be playing a little bit for Burn, but I think he's going to be more of a rotational player. Some cup runs, maybe a Champions League like game 5, game 6, if we've already kind of qualified, just to kind of keep people fresh. That's going to be the main part of the whole season is how Eddie manages all of the different players. Because it's not going to be like last season where you can just run basically the same 14, 15 players the whole season. You're going to have to rotate.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to
Very
have a
true.
role. I would just keep an eye out for when he starts.
Okay. All right. Next player, Sven Botman. What a signing.
What a signing. Top 5, top 6 center backs in the EPL right now?
I mean, not from a Fantrax scoring perspective,
No.
but a real life perspective. The impact that he had last season, yes, I would say he's definitely up there. I mean, in terms of potential and what you'd expect from all centre backs, I think that's a different debate for a different day, maybe.
Yeah, no, true. From a Fantrax perspective, I can definitely see that. I don't know where he exactly finished. I mean, Shar finished, what, third overall?
No, it was Trippier that fit. Oh no, overall for defenders, you mean?
Yeah, overall for defenders.
Yeah. I think Shar was definitely up there. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think definitely an asset to have. Maybe 7th round to 10th round. Trying to find.
You're not worried about the last of ghost points though?
Nah. It's tough. Everybody goes for the wide players. For defenders specifically, I try to either find players that get clean sheets, which I think we had the most clean sheets in the EPL last year, or
No, I think Manchester United did, didn't they? I thought De Gea got Golden Glove.
I'm not, man. I don't exactly remember. It said Nick Pope had 14, Ramsdale had 14. I don't know if that Allison had 14. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe so. Who knows? Don't listen to me. But anyways, he's gonna play every game. So if you want to just sit and forget, he may not get you, 100 points. And Newcastle scores a goal. Avi Bonzi. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm watching our little friendly right now versus Villarreal. So,
So Botman was 15th, I think, for defenders.
there you go. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely an asset to have. Yeah, like I said,
Okay, interesting.
8th, 7th, 8th round, somewhere in there.
Okay, all right. Last name I want to touch on from that summer window, Alexander Isak. Yo, this man is a baller.
Yeah, go and grab him as early as you can. I wouldn't say, maybe late first round, early second, somewhere in there. I'd put him ahead of players like Nkunku, um,
Agreed.
Foden. I'd put him in front of.
Yeah.
Matoma, Nunez. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'd probably put him right. If you can't get Watkins, go get Isak. If you can't get Isak, go get Watkins. That's basically where I'm putting those two kind of right next to each other.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Where does Callum Wilson fall into all of this, by the way?
Again, I think it's gonna be interesting on how Eddie manages this. They can play together, which they showed last year. Which one starts over the other? Maybe they start together. I think the tough part with Wilson is his injury history. But if he's on the field, he's taking penalties over Isak.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in mind when you think about drafting him over another forward, because he does take the penalties. I mean, I'd kind of put him in that range of, maybe where, I don't know how high people are going, Havertz or Sterling, but I'd say, fourth round, fifth round, is where I'd start to get into the Callum Wilson range. And there's not a lot of forwards compared to previous years.
Yeah.
So
how's Callum looked in preseason, by the way?
Looked pretty good. He hasn't got a ton of times. Here he is right now on the ball. About to score a goal. Nah, no goal. But no, I think he's done pretty well. I think he's kind of taken it. He doesn't look like he's trying as hard as he probably would in the EPL. Taking it a little easy. I mean, I think he is turning 32 this year. Or so. So he's up there in age, so he's got to kind of take a little easy. 31. He'll be 32 in February. So yeah, I mean,
okay.
He'll definitely have a part to play. Definitely an asset to have. Just again, kind of the same thing of target a little bit. When he plays, start him. If he's not, you need a forward, I'd still maybe start him because he's going to come on. That's the thing. I think he's going to get in every single game that he can.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah, it'll be very curious to see how Eddie Howe kind of balances his minutes across Champions League and EPL, like who he prioritizes, even with Isak, right? Because Isak, he had a knock, was out for a little while, but then I feel like he came back stronger and maybe a bit more fit than last time. So it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, definitely I think Isak is worth the gamble early second round. If he falls late second round, absolute steal in my opinion. But all right, let's move on to the January window then. Only one name I really want to touch on. Anthony Gordon came in from Everton. I think there was like a lot of hype around him, especially we saw not only his impact at Everton, but Fantrax output as well. And he looks good, but I'm concerned about, his rotation with Barnes and Miggy, who are on fire in preseason. So what are your thoughts about Gordon?
I'm looking at my draft. That I'm still currently in the slow draft, the community league, and he just went third pick in the 11th round. I'd probably say that's a steal for that round, or for where that is. I'd probably put him in the 8-9 range. I don't know. Again, for me, it's one of these things where, look, if you've already got 4 midfielders, go and get him as your 5th rotational player, because that's essentially what he's going to be at Newcastle. There are going to be some games again where he comes in and plays. Maybe there was a tough game in the Champions League on a Wednesday, and we've got an early Saturday game. He may play that game. Same with a Wilson, or vice versa with a Barnes or an Isak. But I think the better players and the top players that you're going to want to pick on the Newcastle team are going to be on the UCL games. So good rotational player, definitely has an attacking presence to him, and had a great stellar U21 Euro, which I think he got in the tournament. So I think he's definitely something to pick up. And again, I think 11th round, third overall is really really good value for him.
Is there a particular player from Newcastle you might handcuff Anthony Gordon with?
Barnes, I think those two are going to be kind of rotating.
Okay.
Or if
Uh,
you've got a Miggy. Yeah, I don't see. I don't know. I think Barnes and Gordon are going to be the ones rotating. I
Okay.
think Miggy and Murphy are going to be the ones rotating.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That's very useful. Thank you. So let's move to the current window then. Before we get to the two main players to talk about, I think there was a new one that came through, Yankuba Minte from Odense. Do you know anything about this person? Is this a youth
When
player?
did this happen?
I've
Kuba
very,
Minte.
very new. I just saw it on the 18-year-old Gambia forward from the Danish league.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming he's just like depth and also like a future player.
Yeah, I would probably say that. You're probably right.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know that this happened. Looks like he is loaned out to Feyenoord.
Yeah. For the
Um,
next season, yeah.
mhm. And
So he made
looks like
17 appearances for the Danish
huh,
like team, like the team in the Danish league. Scored 4 goals, 6 assists. It's pretty good
dude,
returns, man.
hell yeah, yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
that. I will take that
So
any day, man. Yeah, definitely
one for
one
dynasty leagues
for the
maybe.
one for Dynasty. Yeah, I haven't done that. Have you dabbled in any of that?
Yeah. First time playing one of the first time this season. My strategy was definitely not dynasty friendly because everyone else was like going, first pick like Declan Rice, Phil Foden, that sort of stuff.
Mm-mm.
I was just like, yeah, Bruno Fernandes, bro. I'm just trying to win this season. Like, I'll stress about like dynasty in like a couple of years.
There you
Like,
go. Yeah, I would say that's probably a good move. For that type of style. I don't know. Do you get to keep everybody? And then
so we draft like 20 players to start. You have to have at least 3 under 23 players. And then we'll have a waiver window where you add 5 additional players. So you got like a 25-man roster.
oh
But I
shit.
think all leagues are definitely different. It depends on what rules you have put out. Because I think like we've got an under 21 rule at one point. Like there's a lot of rules that I honestly don't remember all of it. I just did the bare minimum, which was get
Hmm.
3 under 23 players, kept them in, and then just drafted to just win the season. So
That's what it's all about, right? That's what it's
I
all
just want
about.
I just want those dubs, man.
Yeah,
Just those
I just
dubs.
want the doves. I hear you. That's cool. That's cool though. Um, no, I would say that yeah, one for the future, especially in that type of league. For sure.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about these two big names. First one, Sandro Tonali, coming in from AC Milan. How's he looked in preseason, and is he a nail starter, you think?
So he looked a little off pace and just not accustomed to the English speed of the English game yet. I think it'll definitely happen. Um, give it a month, give it until September or so. He's also hasn't been playing with, for the most part. Yesterday in our friendly, we're playing with two youngsters. And he looked a little slow. So that's kind of been his preseason, but that's everybody's preseason, right? So I think once you get him in the middle with a Bruno and a Jolinton or a Willock or even a Longstaff or the real first team players, he's going to succeed a lot more. But I would say definitely draft him, maybe 6th round, um, and then just kind of hold on to him and wait, and play him when he starts. I don't know at the beginning what his impact's going to be. I don't think it's going to be like a Bruno when he came in and just lit the whole world on fire. I don't think it's going to be that type of thing, but I do think that especially come October, November, December, he's going to be playing every single game. Points wise, I don't know if he's a goal scorer, the link type midfield. So a lot of it is, from a fan perspective.
So I haven't watched all of the preseason games or whatnot, but In my head, I'm assuming Tonali's the guy that says back, lets the other midfielder next to him go forward because Elliot Anderson's been playing a lot, getting a lot of attacking returns in preseason. So I'm wondering if that gives Bruno G the freedom to roam forward. And we know what fucking class he is,
Yeah.
being up front, right? Connecting the play, setting up guys like Miggy to make runs and stuff like that. So I wonder if Bruno G's value increases now.
I think overall, all of the midfielders' values increased. There hasn't been, when I've watched our team play, there isn't those three in the midfield what I've seen is they do tend to stick to their specific positions on a right-sided this, left-sided this, sitting back, but they also know each other's positions and where they're supposed to be. And so there is times in which they will just, because of the pace of play and how the game's going, they will rotate, and Joelinton may play a 6 for a 5-minute stretch, 10-minute stretch, and etc. So they're all kind of rotating, constantly rotating, and so you may see, a Bruno that frees up a Bruno, but it may also free up Tonali, it may free up a Joelinton, it may free up whoever it is, because they all kind of rotate within that system. So I don't think that there's a quote set position for them. Yes, there is technically, but when you watch it, it's more of like a 5-a-side type of system in which positionally players rotate. So I think again, it just boosts all of the midfielders. Whoever is starting, I think, is just the best. You just add one more elite talent to the mix.
Okay. So next name that we wanted to talk about was Harvey Barnes coming in from Leicester City. Quite a good acquisition, I think, for you guys. You kind of, well, I wouldn't say you lacked goals, but it always helps to have an additional goal threat, right? Coming in off the left. We know that was Isak while Wilson was playing up central, but I think when Isak was playing central, you did miss that goal threat coming off the left.
Definitely. And to add, what was it, 13 goals to the side, that's huge.
Yeah.
As much as I loved watching ASM, I'm going to miss him dearly. But adding goals over Flair any day of the week, I mean, now you've got a right winger that scored 11, a left winger that scored 13, I think, and then a striker that had 20 or 19. Then the other striker, I mean, you're talking a good, 40 goals between the top 3 and the one coming off the bench. Before you had, now you got 40 goals. Before you had 27. So adding that is huge. From a Fantrax perspective, go and pick him up. I think he's going to be the starting left winger for the squad for the most part. 3rd round, 4th round is where I would try to target him. Maybe 5th round would be a steal. I don't know where he went in my draft. I'm trying to find him, but definitely somebody to go and pick up for sure.
Okay, lovely. Are there any other names or assets you want to touch on before we move on to the next point of discussion?
Yeah, so I think Miggy is kind of falling out. Ooh, another goal from Joelinton. There you go.
Wow.
Joelinton. What was this goal?
Jojo is still up there, man, as an asset. I feel like he's still being a bit underrated. Like,
I think so
people are
too,
like,
man.
skeptical still, but the guy keeps doing it.
He keeps doing it, and man, what Eddie Howe has turned that guy into, it's just unbelievable. What a midfielder. He reminds me of a Mo Diame. You remember Mo Diame? He played, I think, for West Ham a little bit, and then for Newcastle, and he was just a force. I mean, he's just a huge, strong body, and that's this guy, man. I think there's one that I would start looking at. Just fucking banger. There you go. Yeah, so I think he's definitely one that keep your eye out. Try to get him maybe a little earlier. I think in ours he went fifth round, third overall, and the other name that I was going to mention was Miggy. When in my draft he went seventh round, 11th overall. So those two names I would keep an eye on, specifically.
Okay. All right. Cool. So let's talk about expected formation and starting 11 then. If the season's starting tomorrow, which it feels like it is, because it's only a few days away.
I know.
Who's rolling out for you? What formation are we gonna see?
So I think you're gonna see a 4-3-3, especially at the beginning. Same back four essentially as last year, that you got every single game, which is Pope in the back, Trippier, Schär, Botman, and then you're going to see Dan Burn on the left. Then at the beginning, I want to say you're going to see Tonali, Bruno, Joelinton. You may see Elliot Anderson plopped in there, or Longstaff. I don't think that Willock is healthy yet. But I do think that, you're going to see Longstaff, which is who's starting today. You're going to see Longstaff, Bruno, and Joelinton in the middle. I think that definitely could be where it was, just to have some similarity of what it was last season. And then across the front, Miggy, Wilson or Isak, and then Barnes. I think it's going to be essentially a combination of those four.
Okay. All right. Who would you say gets the
Barnes
most minutes?
Scores a goal. Oh man, this is just like I said. Go get Barnes, guys.
Is that his second goal for the game?
That's
or something?
The second of the game. Yep.
Jesus.
Assist from Wilson. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, out of those front four, right? Who do you think gets the most minutes? Because if I'm drafting any asset, I ideally don't want to be stressing about the starting lineup and, the green ticks and all that shit.
Damn, that's a good question, man. To be honest with you, I would probably say Miggy. And I say that not because I think he's the best fantasy asset of the three of the four, but I say that because the dude doesn't stop running and never gets hurt. So it's very tough to replace, and when he's in a form like he is right now, or was last year, it's really hard to drop a player like that. I mean, the work rate, I love him, and now he's producing goals. Like, you can't drop that. So I would say from a time perspective, definitely Miggy.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Okay, so let us finally touch on AFCON/Asian Cup. Y'all are some lucky bastards.
We are.
Because you're not affected in any shape, way, or form.
Man, I love it.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyways, all right, let's jump into the fan track side of things then. I think this is what everyone's here for. Who's the first pick from Newcastle?
I know a lot of people are going with Trips, but I honestly think that Isak would be my first pick. Trippier, but
Trippier took over 100 corners last season, yo.
I don't. We finally scored on one in preseason, it's tough. I mean, he's definitely one of the best assets, especially defensively. I don't know. I think it's one of those two. For me, it's just a toss up of one of those two. It depends on where your pick is, what's available to you. But Trippier or Isak are kind of in that same realm. I mean, if you've got 12, and you want to stack Newcastle players, maybe go Trippier or Isak.
All right. By the way, Man City just scored against Arsenal, eh?
Yeah, who was that kid?
Cole Palmer. He's a dynasty pick, I'd say. I picked him up as a free agent in the last game week of last season. Helped me win a title, so
I'm gonna go and find this kid and draft him. That was a rip right there, man.
KDB assist as well. So I mean, KDB is back, yo.
Damn.
Yeah.
he's back. He's back.
I think if he's available first round, you gotta grab him, right?
Cole Palmer, yeah.
Well, I mean, KDB. Come on, buddy. I know we talk a lot of shit, but you outdid me there.
Yeah, no, definitely. You gotta go get him. He's always been top 5 for me.
Yeah.
Especially when you get a Haaland who just scores goals like it's eating breakfast, man.
Yeah. All right. Let us look at the next 3 picks from Newcastle. Who do you have?
Barnes, Wilson, and that's tough. A mix of Joelinton, Bruno, Miggy, those 3 can probably all kind of go in the same round, but definitely I would say Wilson and Barnes for at least the next 2. That covers basically your front 3 of them. So yeah, I'd probably put Miggy up there. Definitely, I think Miggy can go 5th, 6th round. Kind of in that same realm of Harvey Barnes, Wilson 3rd, 4th, Joelinton, Bruno, Miggy in the 5th, 6th rounds.
Okay, all right. What have you got up your sleeve for hidden gem?
Gordon is a good shout for a hidden gem. And then a player like Elliot Anderson. I definitely think that when he plays, he's going to have an impact. And then kind of the one that we talked about in the first take was going to be a Tonali. So that's kind of like a little hidden gem. I probably shouldn't have said that if anybody in the community is going to listen to that, but.
If you want, I can release it halfway through the season.
Yeah,
so
there
safe,
you go.
You're safe.
There you go. I'll tell you once I make the trade. And
exactly. All right, sweet. Are there any other picks that you want to suggest or touch on before we move on to the final segment of the pod?
I think the last player from a signing perspective is Tino Livramento from Southampton. Pretty good right back. Especially going to be in this team. He's got some attacking presence. That definitely could be a little steal, depending on whenever he gets released. And if Trippier gets hurt, he's going to play every single game. So again, just keep an eye out for him.
Okay, sounds good. All right, now Kendall, how long have you been playing Fantrax, buddy?
As long as it's been around. Plus 3-ish years of Toga.
Okay.
So
you're a veteran.
8
You're
years old. Veteran, yeah, old. Shoot,
okay.
man.
Do you have gray hair? No.
I have no hair. Oh, man.
I love that. All right, so do you have any experience with trading draft picks?
Yes, don't like doing it, but I will say in my league that I'm in right now, the community league, the long drafts, man, I get so impatient. Like I'm like trying to trade and move up and get more fab. I'm just like I can't take this. In live drafts, I don't trade anything. These slow drafts, man, it's like I just want to pick. I just want to pick my team and just get away with it. I don't. That's probably why I'm bad at it and why I don't like doing it. But I've always been burned on them. That's why I probably don't like doing it. So I don't even want to give advice because people are going to come back and crucify me. Or
do you have any history of making trades with other managers during the season?
Yeah, there's one really bad one that sticks out. I think it was like week 3, Matt Doherty's Fantrax winning season, where he finishes like 2nd overall. I traded him away, and yeah, that was bad. That was really bad, really bad.
So So I mean, when you do make these trades, like what are some of the metrics that you use? Do you look at form, fixtures, like
Yeah.
history of performance?
Yeah, form fixtures. One of the things that I absolutely like in Fantrax is the splits tab.
Splits tab? No, never actually.
So it gives you their historical data from where home, away. Like I'm looking at Suchek's right now. Home, away, uh, day points, night points, wins, losses, how they fare in wins, how they fare in losses, uh, and then they give you stats for that season on how they played versus that specific team. So, for example, I'm looking at Suchek right now, and last year he absolutely destroyed games versus Bournemouth, games versus Crystal Palace. Versus Bournemouth, he had
Oh,
2 goals, two assists. Crystal Palace, he had a goal and an assist in 2 games. So the splits tab, I'd say keep an eye on, especially if you're going to try to pick a player and you want to go based on who they're playing. I do keep an eye on that type of thing. One of the other ones is, especially when trading, if I want to go and get a good player, um, because my if I'm higher up in the table, I always try and go and get a better player for what I may have. To get like a really good second, or a really good maybe even third defender, or third midfielder, and I may give up 2, 3 assets to try and get that player. And then in the opposite realm, say I'm sitting around, seventh, eighth, and I really need to get up into like fifth to make the um, playoffs, right? Then I'm going and I'm trying to go and give away one of my top talents to get a better 2 or 3 players to help my overall team. I may be giving up a really good one asset, but gaining 2 good assets out of it.
okay, all right. Yeah, I mean I've only done trading once, but I'm thinking of doing a bit more this season. Because I think I've got a few assets here and there that I'm unsure on, and assets that I really wanted to get. Right, so
hmm
let's see how this season unfolds. Because you never know with injuries, form, etc. Like, it's unpredictable, man. Football
Yeah,
and life. So yeah.
I
All
do
right.
think
Yep.
just one last thing on trading. I would suggest trying to make trades. I think there's some stat out there, and I think it has to do more with American football than this, but uh, you have a higher statistic of winning your league if you perform trades. I don't know.
Mm,
I don't know why that is and how they do their metrics, but just keep that in mind.
okay. All right. Hey, giving so much good advice. I've got a draft later tonight as well.
So do I, man. Are
Oh,
we in the
excellent,
same home
excellent.
league?
I don't know. You've got your home league. No, I've got like the DPL Com league. I'm like in a league
Oh,
of
that's the
death or
one I'm
whatever.
in.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Don't tell me we're in the same draft, buddy.
No, no, no. Mine's going on right now. What division
Okay,
are you
okay.
in? Where are you?
Um, I'm in what? I forgot the name of it. Is it the Rafinha Riot or something like that?
Huh. Okay.
I'm in a
Oh, there
league
you
with
are.
like
There you
one
are.
of my co-hosts, 2 TDS guys, like one of the Inside Tracks fan reps. Like I'm gonna die in this league, buddy. Like
Well, you got
absolute
Fantrax new
carnage.
guy though. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is
I don't know
either.
who
He
that
seems
is.
like a nice guy, but I
Yep.
don't know.
Hold on one second.
I don't think he's very new. I'm pretty sure it's all con. So
Ah,
we'll see.
okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What's your experience with playing with Fab though, Kendall?
I think 1 year. I did it. I don't like it. I try to just get rid of it as fast as possible. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just want to.
What are savings? Like, who cares about
Yeah,
planning for the
no,
future?
yeah. Or this is where kind of going back to the tradings, man. Trade down. If nobody else is traded in the draft, trade down and for like Fab. Trade like
Yeah,
4
that's fair.
slots down, 5 slots down, because they lock the waiver, they lock the pool. So what? United just signed that one player. I don't know. I don't even know if they think he's Holland, but it's not even sounds the same, not spelled the same, doesn't even look the same, but they think he's going to be the same. You may want to go and spot guy. But yeah, it's either save a lot of it up or just get rid of all of it.
All right. Sounds good. Now, what about so it's interesting. I did the Nottingham Forest pod, and I had like the notes buy low, sell high in the script or whatever, and I didn't even think of this as a discussion point, but or angle, let's say, to kind of talk about Newcastle assets. But if there were Newcastle assets that you would sell high, which one would you sell high? It's a thinker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe Callum Wilson is like, for example, is one I would think of. Because injuries and, if he starts the season well, you can probably get someone a bit more dependable.
No, yeah, I would say that, especially because of rotation. Probably a Miggy. I would try to sell high if he goes on that purple patch run that he had last year. Yeah, I would probably say something like that. I wouldn't say there's not a lot of sell high players on the team. There's more the opposite. Buy lows. I think there's a lot.
Who'd you buy low? From Newcastle.
I would, like I kind of mentioned earlier, like I would go and get it. I would go and try to find a Tonali like October, November, something like that. Yeah. Maybe a Gordon, an Elliot Anderson. You probably get him on waivers, but yeah, I would something around the lines of that.
Okay, sounds good. So I think we kind of did touch on your best and worst trades of your career so far.
Yeah, let's take it back.
You don't want to rehash that? Yeah, probably not. All right. Okay, so now that you're a vet and all that, what are some of the lessons you've learned over the previous seasons that you're taking into this season, that you can share with the community?
The biggest one, I'd say, for those that are living in North America, just make sure you set alarms. 7 a.m. comes quite early on Saturdays.
Yeah, especially when you've had a heavy Friday night.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Set alarm. You don't want to miss out on, certain, not even just picking up waivers, but just swapping out subs. Players that may not start or whatever. That's probably the biggest one. It's just waking up early. Other than that, I would say just be patient. Don't get too caught up in one player's form over week 1, week 2, week 3. Kind of see how it plays out. Don't go trade the best player in fantasy after 2 games at the beginning of the season. No idea what could happen. Learn from your mistakes.
For some reason, when you said don't chase, waterfalls played in my head. I don't know why. And I was trying to put like a Geordie spin on it, but I don't know. We might have to come back with that mid-season.
I'll think of something.
Yeah, I'll get you to like write some lyrics and we'll drop some tunes.
There we go.
Mid-season.
All right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. But yeah, those are the picks. That's the pod. That's all we had planned. Kendall, thank you, my man, for taking time on your schedule again to do this.
Of course, man. Glad we were able to do it. For real. Sorry it took so long to get back to this.
Hey.
What? There we go. No. That sound. If I have PTO in my work to go and watch all these games.
I mean, that Champions League batch suits your kit so well,
I know. Man. I know.
It's your colors, so it's just a matter of time until. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like sitting here doing like draw the whole time, like we were talking to each other. Like,
yeah.
When does the draw come out?
I have no idea. You know why? Because I don't care. I'm not in Europe. No, I genuinely don't know. I think it's in like a few weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks or something like that. It won't be for a while, no?
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, we could check it real quick. Champions League draw.
Come on, Google.
I mean, we probably also should cut the pod. I'm pretty sure the listeners don't care, but
all right.
I mean,
no, you're right.
No, but again, yeah. Thank you so much for your time, man. Congratulations on such a successful season last season.
Thanks.
Yeah, looking forward to your progress this season, and we'll bring you back on the pod, get some updates, see how Champions League going as well.
Yep.
If you're down for Champions League fantasy, I mean, your team's in it. You might as well play it. You know. So,
I didn't even know they had it. I've never been in it,
but,
so now I'm doing it.
I'm gonna pull you in. Exactly.
Please do. Please do.
All right, listeners. Thanks again for tuning in for another Inside Tracks episode. We're almost at the end. Don't worry. Yes, Kendall cannot stop boasting about Champions League. I fucking love it. But yeah, stay tuned. I don't know which one's the next episode's gonna be. It's someone. Don't worry. It's gonna be good content.
They aren't in the Champions League, though.
They're definitely not in Champions League for sure. But yeah, stay tuned and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace!